Our baby was gone. Joy Anna Duggar's heartbreaking confession that left millions in tears. Joy Anna Duggar has shared a deeply personal and poignant update following the heartbreaking loss of her daughter late in pregnancy. In a message delivered with raw vulnerability, compassionate intent, and profound faith, she invites others into the depths of her grief, while also offering solace, practical wisdom, and the gentle reminder that hope and sorrow can coexist. Her message begins with an acknowledgement of the anticipation that had surrounded her pregnancy. She traced the unfolding joy that so many expectant parents experience, selecting nursery colors, inhaling the soft scent of freshly washed baby blankets, and whispering the chosen name in quiet moments of wonder. She conveyed how each step forward felt like folding another plane of hope into the future, each stitch, each lullaby, each imagining a family life pulling hope into being. Yet, in a moment that seemed almost ordinary, a flicker of unease unsettled her spirit. One of the rare visits to the hospital when reassurance felt muted rather than overwhelming. Joy Anna recounted that the baby's heartbeat was steady, her own vitals strong, but something inside her whispered, "Too quiet." She described a hush not often discussed, when medical scans show a heart still beating, but the movement, the essential movement that brings joy and relief, has faded. She spoke with quiet clarity about that moment when she and her husband were told a baby had passed, a reality so damagingly final that it felt surreal. Every word she chose carried careful weight. She spoke of the clinical details, necessary, yet still shocking. She explained how doctors and nurses offered medical care, confirmation scans, compassionate but firm explanations, the preparation for delivery. Yet her focus immediately shifted to the human cost, the wrenching sense of betrayal against all that felt hopeful. She shared how blood drained from her face when she heard the diagnosis, how time fractured into single moments, each dragging behind the other. In describing the labor that followed, Joy Anna honored the experience of women who've walked this path before. Women who know about stillbirth, who felt the room turn cold when life is lost in the womb. She didn't shy away from naming the pain. "It's not just physical," she said. "It's a grief that hollows the heart, that wakes you in the night with questions like daggers. Why did her lungs, so ready to breathe, never work? Why did our song stop before it began?" She allowed the memory of her daughter's final moments to linger. The gentle hush in the delivery room, the sight of her husband, quiet-eyed and grief-struck at the bed's end, the sterile blankets suddenly fracturing every expectation. But amid the profound sorrow, Joy Anna paused to highlight the quiet humanity in the hospital room. The midwife who knelt beside her on the floor when she simply couldn't stand, who whispered affirmations when words failed. The nurse who offered a warm blanket and held her hand when sobs wrecked the breathing. The doctor who, refusing to hide behind medical walls, delivered medicine and compassion both. She spoke about what truly mattered, being seen in grief, being cared for as a person, not just as a symptom, a prognosis, or an event in medical charts. After the delivery, they were allowed to see and hold their daughter. She spoke of her own hand brushing the soft hair, of her husband's tears at the sight of little fingers curled as if grasping hope. She described how they named her daughter, choosing a name they'd loved in waiting, giving voice to her existence in the world. Naming, she said, is not just ritual. It is recognition. It is declaration. Our daughter lived, even if briefly. Our daughter was ours. She spoke with emotional intelligence about the paradox of claiming joy amid sorrow, of clinging to a name, appointing memory a place beside dreams, allowing gratitude for every moment, even the painful ones. Naming her, she shared, is how we resist the erasure of her existence. We say, "You were real. You mattered. You were loved." With that naming came a turning point, subtle yet significant. Grief begins to exist alongside living. She described moments that might surprise outsiders, laughing with her siblings at an inside joke, wiping down kitchen counters after dinner, checking email for a recipe. These acts don't negate grief. They exist beside it. As two co-authors of a new life story, one written with grief, the other with raw hope. Joy-Anna also candidly addressed those who suffered similar loss. She delivered a direct message. Grief is not meant to be contained. It cannot be scheduled, parceled, or traveled around. Some days you'll laugh. Some days you'll want to stay under blankets. That's okay. No shame, no rush, no timeline. She referenced organizations like SANS and the Compassionate Friends, and especially encouraged any family who is or might be facing stillbirth to consider asking their care team specifically about bereavement support, memory-making resources, and cultural practices across the world. Because in measuring grief, we shouldn't rush to normalize the impossible. She then turned to medical audiences. She emphasized that stillbirth, while tragically common, is not a universal conversation. She said many patients leave the hospital without hearing the word stillbirth or without being given precise terminology to name their loss. She recommended hospitals adopt straightforward communications, open statements like "your baby has died," particular kits for parents to create memories, and debriefing sessions for staff to process alongside families. Allow empathy to lead, she urged, explaining that even brief moments of care, warm lighting, clear speech, time and space, can shape healing pathways. Joy-Anna also touched on faith, not as empty reassurance, but as living ally in suffering, holding Psalm 34:18 close. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. She spoke of moments when despair felt physical, when night weighed on her lungs, yet she sensed small comforts: a breeze brushing the nursery curtains, cicadas singing outside, sunlight spilling across the windowsill. She didn't say those signs erased her pain. Instead, they reminded her of continuity, a movement forward. She articulated how, even amid suffering, there is permission to hope. She spoke about carrying new dreams in her heart, while still honoring lost ones. I believe she is with our Creator. I believe there is mercy beyond what we see. I believe our stories are still unfolding, not as platitudes, but as axes born under pressure, strength shaped in shared fracture, meaning born in brokenness. Her message also wove in the necessity of community. When you lose a baby, she said, you lose a piece of yourself. But you don't have to lose yourself alone. She urged others to reach out: friends, family, support groups, therapists, counselors, churches, not to erase pain, but to hold it. She underscored that care matters, from home-cooked meals dropped off at the door to quiet check-in texts to allowing silence in your presence. She specifically asked that people avoid misguided reassurances like "God needed another angel" or "at least you can try again." Instead, offer affirmation: "I'm so sorry this happened. I see your pain. I will not rush you." As her message from this update drew to a close, Joy-Anna looked forward, not as though she has forgotten what's gone missing, but as though she has committed to carrying it forward. She spoke of planting a small tree in her backyard, a place to reflect each time a promise grows upward, a living emblem of a life that once breathed. She plans to write letters on each birthday her daughter would have celebrated, and hold a small ceremony each year for reflection and remembrance. She urged families to choose what matters to them: rituals, moments, memorials, because grief tends to find its way out of silence. Her final words bore a gentle clarity. To any mother, father, sibling, grandparent, or friend walking through this valley, you are not alone. Your baby mattered. Your grief matters. You are worthy of being seen, heard, held, remembered. You are allowed to grieve in your own way. You are allowed to ask beautiful, unanswerable questions, and when you are ready, when your spirit can rise again, they will rise with you. Joy-Anna's update does not offer easy answers. It does not pretend that sorrow can be erased, but it does redefine courage, not as stoicism, but as vulnerability. It does illustrate that honor lies not only in welcoming life, but also in grieving its loss. It shows that naming brings dignity, that memory brings life, that hope and grief are entwined in the same story. And in every line, she calls us toward compassion, for ourselves, for each other, for the fragile spaces where sorrow meets hope. Her words, marked by theology and tenderness, carry forward not just as an account of loss, but as an invitation. One to lean in, to remember, to stay human. And through her honesty, Joy-Anna lights a path for others to follow, not out of a duty to move on, but into a life that can hold both grief and gratitude, sorrow and renewal, loss and the long arc of love. Thanks for watching.